The studio lights of Live with Kelly and Mark were dimmer than usual that morning. The usual hum of excitement backstage was replaced by a quiet tension, an unspoken anticipation that seemed to hang in the air like a delicate mist. Fans across the country, tuning in as usual, had no idea that today's show would be remembered forever, not for laughter or light-hearted banter, but for a heartbreak that would leave everyone stunned. Kelly Ripa, radiant as ever in a soft lavender dress, sat on the edge of her chair, flipping through cue cards with a slightly distracted air. Mark Consuelos, her husband and co-host, usually full of charm and quick jokes, was quieter than normal. There was a weight behind his eyes that morning, a kind of sadness that didn't need words to explain. For years, the audience had adored the couple's chemistry. Mark's mischievous smirk, Kelly's infectious laugh, the way they shared unspoken glances that hinted at decades of love and understanding. But today, something felt different. Kelly had noticed it immediately when Mark had entered the studio that morning. There was a fragility about him, subtle yet impossible to ignore. As the show began, Mark greeted the audience with his usual warmth, but the sparkle that usually danced in his eyes was absent. He laughed at the jokes, but it was a softer, more hesitant laughter. Kelly tried to match him, tried to bring their usual energy to the show, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was about to happen. And then, during a seemingly routine commercial break, Mark leaned close to Kelly, his voice barely above a whisper. "Kelly, there's something I need to say, and it's important. Can we do it live?" Kelly's heart skipped. She had been through plenty of surprises on air, from celebrity pranks to unexpected announcements, but the tone in Mark's voice sent a chill down her spine. She nodded, gripping his hand tightly. The audience returned, unaware of the gravity of what was about to unfold. Mark took a deep breath. The camera lights caught the edge of his jaw, highlighting the subtle tension there. He turned to the audience, his usual confident demeanor now tempered with raw vulnerability. "Good morning, everyone," he began, his voice steady but layered with emotion. "Today's show isn't about a new guest or a trending story. Today is about something personal, something I've kept close to my heart for a long time." There was a pause, a silence that stretched like a taut string across the studio. Kelly sat beside him, her hands trembling slightly as she looked at him with both love and worry. "I've been lucky," Mark continued, his eyes briefly meeting the camera before settling on Kelly. "Lucky in ways most people only dream of. Lucky to have a family that loves me. Lucky to have a career I'm proud of. And most of all, lucky to have Kelly, my partner, my friend, my soulmate." The audience responded with applause, but it was cautious, sensing that this wasn't just another sweet tribute. Mark swallowed, and when he spoke again, his voice cracked ever so slightly. "But luck isn't always enough." Kelly's heart clenched. She could feel it, the moment approaching that she had feared without knowing why. "For faced things, challenges that I never thought I could survive, and through all of it, Kelly has been my anchor." He paused, his hand reaching out to hers. She grasped it firmly, her thumb brushing over his knuckles, silently telling him she was there no matter what. "And now," Mark said, his voice steadying despite the tremor in his heart, "I have a final wish, something I need you, to carry forward." Kelly's eyes widened. The words "final wish" had never been spoken between them before. She felt her throat tighten, a lump forming that made it hard to breathe. Mark looked directly at Kelly, the vulnerability in his gaze cutting deeper than any heartbreak she had ever known. "Kelly," he said, "I want you to live for both of us. I want you to continue to laugh, to love, to inspire, even if I'm not here to do it with you. That's my wish. That's my gift, that you carry on with the same joy and passion we shared together, even when it's hard." The studio went silent,
Even the audience seemed to hold its collective breath. Kelly felt tears prickling her eyes, but she held them back, focusing instead on the man beside her, the man who had shared every triumph, every failure, every secret dream. Mark's voice broke the quiet, tender yet resolute. "I don't know what tomorrow holds for me, but I know that the love we've shared is eternal. I need you to remember that, always." Kelly's hands were shaking now, tears spilling freely down her cheeks. She tried to speak, but the words caught in her throat. Her heart ached with a pain that was both immediate and timeless. How do you respond when the person you love most gives you a final request, knowing it may be the last time they can speak it aloud? The audience, sensing the raw emotion, erupted into supportive applause, but even their cheers felt muted compared to the intensity of the moment unfolding on stage. Kelly took a deep breath, her voice barely audible, but filled with a fierce determination. "Mark, she began, choking back sobs. "I promise, I'll carry us forward. I'll live for both of us, always." Mark's lips curled into a faint, bittersweet smile. Relief, love, and sorrow all mingled in his eyes. He squeezed her hand once, firmly, grounding them both in the shared weight of the moment. The rest of the show passed in a blur. Interviews were conducted, segments played, but for Kelly and Mark, it was as if time had slowed. Every laugh, every glance, every fleeting moment felt charged with a depth of meaning that only comes when life itself reminds you of its fragility. After the show, backstage, Kelly couldn't stop the tears. She clung to Mark, who returned the embrace with a quiet strength that belied his vulnerability moments earlier. "I love you," she whispered, her voice muffled against his chest. "I love you more," he replied softly, his hand brushing her hair. That evening, as the studio emptied and the lights dimmed, Kelly sat alone in the dressing room, reflecting on the day's events. Her mind replayed every word, every pause, every tear shed in silent understanding. Mark's final wish was not just a request, it was a testament to the bond they shared, a reminder that even in the face of uncertainty, love endures. In the quiet moments, when the cameras were off and the world outside faded into soft twilight, Kelly would close her eyes and hear his voice, gentle and unwavering. "Live, Kelly, live for both of us."
In the weeks that
And
followed,
she did.
Kelly honored his wish in ways both public and private. She returned to the stage with renewed energy, her laughter more genuine, her warmth more radiant. Behind the scenes, she cherished every memory, every shared glance, every quiet moment that had defined their extraordinary partnership. Fans noticed the subtle change in her demeanor, the depth of emotion behind every smile. And while the heartbreak of that day never fully faded, it became a source of inspiration, proof that even in the shadow of loss, love's light could shine brighter than ever. Mark's final wish was fulfilled in the most profound way possible. Kelly lived fully, loved openly, and continued to inspire millions. And though he was no longer by her side in the same way, his presence was felt in every gesture, every laugh, every tear, a silent, enduring reminder that true love never truly leaves. In the quiet moments, when the cameras were off and the world outside faded into soft twilight, Kelly would close her eyes and hear his voice, gentle and unwavering. "Live, Kelly, live for both of us." And she did.